All right, part number 2. We are currently at number 9. So let me erase number 8. All right, number 9. We need this equation, 3HF plus 2 nitrogen forms HF3 and 4. All right, and then the question says we want to find X grams of this guy, given that we know we have 74.8 moles of this guy. All right, so again, we start with the one that's got a number. That's this guy. He's got 74.8 moles. And we're trying to get to that one. So I would start with moles to moles. So we've got 3 moles of HF makes 1 mole of HF3 and 4. Oops, make that a 4. Equals. Well, then we go, well, I don't have 1 mole of it. I got 74.8 moles of HF3 and 4. And we want to find X moles of HF. Let me turn my lights back on. All right, so from there we're going to cross multiply. X times 1 equals 3 times 74.8. So X ends up equaling 224.4. Now what did we just find out? We found out moles of HF. Well, is that what they wanted? No, they wanted grams. So we now know that this equals 224.4 moles. So now that we know that, now we've got to change this into grams. So to do that, I'll get rid of this part. Now we're going to use the molar mass of HF. So it's 1 times the mass of HF, which I already have written down, is 178 times the big 3 that's up front. So if you multiply that out, you get 534 grams of HF is, per the number that's out in front, 3 moles of HF. Notice that 3. Why is it 3? Because that's what was out in front on this one. Then we make that equal to, if I don't have 534 grams, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have 3 moles, I get 224 moles. Ooh, I got a lot of it. And we want to find X grams of HF. So cross multiply X times 3 equals 534 times 224.4. Divide by 3 on both sides to get X by itself. And if you do the math on that, X ends up equaling a really, really big number. 39,943 grams of HF. A whole lot of it. All right. So that one kind of maybe caught you off guard when you did it because you didn't expect a number that big. All right, number 10. All right, number 10. Borrow this again. This one is limiting reagent. So we've got 2 Al plus 3 CuSO4 forms blah blah. Doesn't matter what's on the other side for this question because we aren't asking anything about them. So they gave us, we have 8.93 moles of this guy, and we've got 9.45 moles of this guy. So what we have to do is we've got to choose one of them, make it X. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to do it both ways, just so that you can see in case you did it one way or the other. So first time, let's make this guy X over here. So if I do that, then that means I have 2 moles of aluminum joins up with 3 moles of copper sulfate. Then we make that equal to, I actually have 8.93 moles of aluminum, and I want to find my green X moles of copper sulfate. So let's cross multiply 2 times X equals 3 times 8.93. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X ends up equaling 12.8. And that's moles of copper sulfate. Now you have to interpret that and go, okay, what does that mean? If I use all 8.93 moles I have of this, I need 12.8 moles of this. Do I have that? No, I only got 9.45. So that means this guy right there, that is my limiting reagent, according to this question. Now, what if you did it the other way around? What if you made this X? So let's do that in red. So if you did it that way, you're still going to use this ratio of 2 moles over 3 moles. But now we have X moles of aluminum over the blue one, 9.45 moles of copper sulfate. Cross multiply 3 times X equals 2 times 9.45 divided by 3 divided by 3. X ends up equaling 6.3 moles of aluminum. So if you did it this way, then what you would find is, well, if I use all of this, 9.45 of that, I need 6.3 moles of this guy. Do I have that? Yep, sure do. Got a whole bunch extra of it. So it still tells me that the copper sulfate is my limiting reagent. All right. All right, so that was number 10. Now I think we go into number 11. It was, how much extra do I have? Well, that means I needed to do this one. And what I needed to do is 8.93 minus my 6.3. So you subtract that, you get what? 2.63 moles extra. And that's of Al. So that would be the answer for number 11. All right, number 12. Number 12. Ooh, the nasty one. This is one that involves many steps. All right, number 12, we have this. All right, so there's my balanced equation. Then we have that we were given 85.4. So we have 85.4 grams of this guy. And we want to find out X liters of that one. Now there's no way I can go all the way from one to the other. Oops, that was my marker, did. So we got to do this in multiple steps. All right, so we're going to start with this one. It gave us grams. Let's change grams into moles. So to do that, I need to find out the molar mass of this guy. So that's 1 times 23 for the sodium, plus 1 times 16 for the oxygen, plus 1 times 1 for the hydrogen. All of that times 2. If you multiply all that out, you get 80. So that is 80 grams of NaOH per the number that's out in front, 2 moles of NaOH. Then we go to, well, I don't have 80 grams, I have 85.4 grams of NaOH. I want to find X moles of NaOH. Cross multiply 80 times X equals 2 times 85.4 divided by 80 divided by 80. And X ends up giving me 2.14. And that is now moles of NaOH. So I just changed this into 2.14 moles. So I don't need that anymore. Now what we got to do is now we got to get from one thing to the other. So we got to get from this to this. Well, let's do moles because we know moles. So we know we got 2 moles of NaOH will give me 2 moles of NH3. Then we make that equal to, well, I actually have 2.14 moles of NaOH. And we're trying to find X moles of NH3. Well, this one, if you're looking at it mathematically, it's an easy one because it's all 1 to 1 really. So 2 times X equals 2 times 2.14 divided by 2 divided by 2, and X ends up meaning the same number, but we just changed it to moles of NH3. Now, as advice on the final exam, don't just skip this step. If it needs to do moles to moles, you still got to do it. Because what if it was from this guy to this guy? Well, then it would have been a 2 to 1. So that would have changed my number of moles. All right, so now what we have to do is now we got to change this number of moles into liters. So that means I use, turn this just a little bit, 22.4 liters is 1 mole equals, well, I actually have 2.14 moles, and I want to find X liters. So from there, cross multiply. X times 1 equals 22.4 times 2.14. And X equals, once you multiply that out, 47.9. And that's liters of NH3. And that was what they ultimately wanted, was liters of NH3. All right, we're going to stop there, and we're going to go to part number 3 next.